So, welcome students. In this lecture, we are studying about line codes and power spectral density. So, in the last lecture, we have also taken an introduction of line codes and we have also seen what are the characteristics of line codes. So, now today we'll see these are few examples of line codes. So, what basically is the meaning of these examples? Here we have to see that this is known as on off RZ, which is known as on off return to zero code. So in this, basically what we do, we represent 1 by on signal and we represent 0 by off signal. So it means here we can see that this is our information 11100101100, and for 1 we are having high pulse, and for again 1 we are having again high pulse. Simply for this one again we are having high pulse, and for 0 we are having a 0 pulse. And because it is a return to 0 means 0 at place of 0 it will come down to 0 level. Again when we are having 1, so this pulse will rise to some value, that is for 1, and similarly for 0 it will again will be low, and for again for 1 this will be high pulse, and for 1 again this will be high pulse, and 0 0 0, right? So this is on off RZ. And for polar signaling, what we do normally, 1 is represented by a pulse PT and 0 is represented by a pulse minus PT. Okay. So for example, here you can see that for 1 the pulse is 1 PT, for again we are having 1, the it means same, we are having pulse PT, for 1 we are having pulse PT, and for 0 the pulse is minus PT. So you can see here the pulse is minus PT, for 0 the pulse is minus PT, for again we are having 1, then the same 1 is repeated here, for 0 again we are having pulse minus PT. So these are all minus PTs and these are all plus PTs, right? These plus PTs, these are minus PTs. So whenever we are having minus PT, PT is, it is a pulse shape, it is a pulse. We know that we have to provide a proper pulse to every bit. Bit cannot travel from the channel, right? We know it. So what we have to do, we have to provide a proper pulse to every bit, and we provide a pulse in a particular manner. So that way in which we are providing the pulse to bit, it will be decided by a proper line code. So for example, if we are using on off RZ technique, then we have to provide the pulse like this. If we are using polar RZ technique, then we have to provide the pulse like this. And if we are using bipolar means that it is also known as alternate mark inversion. Return RZ stands for return to zero. So bipolar means that 1 will be represented by PT or minus PT, and 0 will be represented by 0. So what it means that 1 will be represented PT or minus PT. It means that whenever 1 will come, we have to see that the what will be the previous, what the pulse type we have provided to previous one. So we have to invert the the pulse for the present one. For example, you can see here this is 1, so we have provide plus PT. Now again the next one we have to see the previous one. We have provided plus PT to previous one, then the present one will be represented by minus PT. So it is alternate mark inversion, means alternatively we have to change our sign. So now for next one we have to see the previous pulse, previous one. So previous one is provided by minus PT, so this time this one will be provided by plus PT, right? And 0 will be provided by 0. So now again the one is coming. So now this time, this for this one we have to see the previous one. So previous one is plus PT, so this time this one will be represented by minus PT. Again 0 will be represented by 0, and again we are having bit 1. So for this bit 1 we have to see the previous one. Previous one was minus PT, so this one will be plus PT. And again we are having 1. For this one we have to see the previous one. Previous one was of plus PT, so this one will be of minus PT. So as we proceed for our information, sequence. So this is the concept for bipolar RZ, or we can say it is also known as AMI, alternate mark inversion code. So I have already told you that these codes can be normally seen in three categories. One is polar, and the second one is bipolar, and third one is split phase. We will see the example of a split phase also. So again, this category is of non-return to zero codes. So non-return to zero code means that uh, the pulse will not come to zero again and again till the bit not change, right? For example, till we are not changing from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, will not come to 0 level. So for example, we are having consecutive 3 ones, then for consecutive 3 ones we'll provide the pulse PT for 3 consecutive times, right? Now for consecutive zeros, we are having consecutive zeros. Then for 1, we again provide a pulse 1, right? For 0, we again provide pulse 0, and for 2 consecutive ones again will not come to 0, so it is non-return to 0 type of pulse. So that's why we are coming directly from this point to this point. So this is the method how we plot non-return to 0 pulses. So this is on-off code. On-off code means for 1 we'll provide a pulse, for 0 we will not provide any pulse. Polar NRZ means again the concept will be for polar is 1 is represented by PT and 0 will be represented by minus PT. So in that case, you can see here 1 represented by plus PT, consecutive 3 ones will be represented by consecutive 3 PTs, and consecutive 2 zeros will be represented by consecutive 2 minus PTs, and same for single 1 is plus PT, single 0 is minus PT, again 2 consecutive ones will be plus 2 PTs, and same as for 0 0 0 again we are having 3 consecutive minus PTs. So because these pulses are non-return to 0, so for every bit they will not come down to 0 level, right? They will come down to 0 only when the bit change from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, and in that case also we have to see either it is on off NRZ or polar NRZ. For polar NRZ it will not come to 0, either it will have plus value or it will have minus value. So either it will have plus PT or it will have minus PT. So this is the concept how we can represent any line code for a particular bit stream. So for example, if we are having this bit stream with us, this is our information bit, this is our information bit, then for this information sequence either we can transmit this pulse train, or we can transmit this pulse train, or we can transmit this one or this one, and we'll decide a particular pulse train of, or we can say a particular line code on the basis of their characteristics. So we'll study the characteristics of power spectral densities of different line codes, and on the basis of that power spectral density we'll define that which code we should use for the purpose of transmission, right? So now we can extend our discussion to the slide that, for example, we want to analysis the power spectral density of a particular line code. And why we want to do so? Because I have already told you that a particular line code is having certain characteristics, right? And we are having different types of line codes. We are having RZ category, we are having NRZ category, and in an RZ category we are having on off, we are having polar, or we can have bipolar, any type of code we are having, right? Similarly, all these codes are possible in NRZ category also, and then we can have one more category which is known as split phase codes, right? So all these codes will have different characteristics as per our requirement. As per our requirement, we have to see which code is better for us for the purpose of transmission, right? So what I mean to say that we are having different availability of line codes, but we have to analyze that which line code can be better for us. So how we can analyze what parameter we choose for the purpose of analysis? We choose PSD, power spectral density. What is the definition of power spectral density? It shows the distribution of power with respect to frequency. With respect to frequency, it means that it will tell us that at different frequencies what is the power content of the signal, or what is the power distribution of the signal. So I have to check that either the power spectral distribution is favorable for us or not. So on the basis of that property, or on the basis of this analysis, that which code we can find out that which code can be better for us. So for the purpose of analysis, so for the purpose, I should write here, for the purpose of analysis of different line codes, we use power spectral density. So now from the next lecture, from the next slide, what we are going to find out? We are going to find out power spectral density of different line codes. Why? Because we want to check that which line code can be better for us. Which line code can be better for us. So that's why we want to check the power spectral density, or we want to do the analysis of power spectral density of a line code. That's why I'm coming here to this slide that shows the power spectral density of a line code. So to study the power spectral density of a line code, uh, what we are assuming here, that we are assuming a pulse that is named as PT here. This pulse is having this kind of shape, any arbitrary shape, this type of shape, and this pulse is time limited pulse, and time limited from 0 to TB. So TB is bit period, or TB is the bit duration, right? And now what we can do, we can simply find out a pulse train. We can simply have a signal that can be named as transmitted signal, and it can be the sum of weighted shifted pulses, right? So the transmitted signal yt can be represented as summation of k is equal to minus infinity to infinity ak p t minus ktb. So this pt, this pulse, this the pulse pt, and then we can find out the train of the pulse, the train of the pulse. So train of the pulse means the shifted version of the pulses. So shifted version of the pulses can be represented as p of k minus, sorry, p of, I should rewrite here, p of t minus k times of tb. This is the shifted version of pulse pt. So this is basically pulse train. Why? Because we can vary this constant k. K can vary from minus infinity to plus infinity. So for example, if k is equal to 0, then this pulse is pt. If k is equal to 1, this pulse will be pt minus tb. If k is equal to 2, then pulse will be pt minus 2tb. And if we add these all pulses, then we can have this kind of pulse train. This kind of pulse train with us, right? So in that case, if the strength of kth pulse is ak, then the transmitted signal yt can be represented as the summation of k is equal to minus infinity to infinity ak p of t minus ktb, right? Now we can also represent the same pulse pt with the help of these impulses. So if we represent the pulse pt as impulse, then the same figure that we have seen earlier can be represented like this. We can have these impulses at different time instant, right? So in that case, for example, this is our signal xt, which signal means the signal which we want to transmit, the signal which we want to transmit. And we know that before transmission what we have to do, we have to provide a proper line code. So this is the transfer function of filter, that is having a response of ht, and definitely it should be a matched filter, so the response of ht should equal to pt. In that case, outcome will be yt, and this yt can be transmitted to the channel, right? So the power spectral density of this yt, it can be represented as SYF, which is equal to mod of PF square into SXF. It means that if we want to find out the power spectral density of YT, then we should know what is the value of PF, as well as we should know what is the value of SXF. So what is SXF? It is the power spectral density of the pulse xt which we want to transmit, So actually this is the pulse, this is the signal which we want to transmit, and what we are doing, we are providing a good line code to this pulse, this signal xt, this signal xt. To this signal xt we have to provide the good line code, and if we do so, this xt will convert it to yt, and now this yt can be transmitted to channel. This is the method how we should see this concept. So if we want to calculate the power spectral density of yt, because ultimately we have to see that after applying a successful line code, then after applying a successful line code and we converted xt to yt, then what is the power spectral density of yt? We should calculate it. What is the power spectral density of yt? We should calculate it. Now see, from this formula we can see that power spectral density of yt can be calculated with the help of this formula, that is SYF can be known as modulus of PF square into SXF. So ultimately we can say that to get the power spectral density of yt, we have to get the PSD of yt, we have to find out the PSD of xt, because the response pt is known to us, uh, or we can say that this is the proper pulse shape which we have to choose. So we'll choose the pulse shape accordingly. So we assuming here that pulse shape can be known to us, but what is the power spectral density of the signal which we want to transmit xt? So if we find out the power spectral density of xt, then we can find out the power spectral density of yt. This is very important, right? This is very important. So now further, the power spectral density of a line code can be find out with the help of SYF is equal to mod of PF square into SXF. And what is the value of SXF? So SXF can be represented as Fourier transform of RXT. where Rxt is the autocorrelation function of xt, and the value of this Rxt is coming out to be 1 upon Tb summation of n is equal to minus infinity to infinity Rn e to the power minus j n 2 pi ftb. So we are using the concept here that the power spectral density of any signal can be equal to the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function of the signal, right? This is the concept. So to get the power spectral density of signal xt, what we have to do? First we have to find out the autocorrelation function of this signal x. And once we get the autocorrelation function of this signal xt, then what we'll do? We'll take the Fourier transform. And the Fourier transform of this Rxt, or Fourier transform of this autocorrelation function, will give you the power spectral density of the signal sxt, right? So in this way we can reach up to this place, and once we get the power spectral density of the signal xt, then what we have to do? We have to just multiply with the help of the response of this pulse pt. So Fourier transform of pt will be pf. So Fourier transform of pt will be pf. So mod of pf is square into this factor is what? It is the sxf. It is sxf, and this we have to find out with the help of Fourier transform of autocorrelation function of signal xt, the signal which we want to transmit. So with the help of this, we can find out the value of SYF. SYF is the power spectral density of YT, and YT is nothing but our line code. So power spectral density of YT is what? It is SYF is equal to mod of PF square in bracket 1 upon TB summation of n is equal to minus infinity to infinity Rn e to the power minus Jn 2 pi FTB. Right? So this is the concept how we can find out the power spectral density of any line code, right? So now we have to see how we are achieving these all results. So here in this video I have not discussed the proof of these all formulas, but in the next video I want to prove all these relationships. So in this video just we have discussed that how we can find out the power spectral density of a line code, and what is the meaning, what is the advantage, that why we want to find out the PSD of any line code, because we want to analyze different line codes. And if we want to analyze different line codes, then we have to calculate the power spectral densities of all the line codes, and on the basis of the power spectral density we have to find out which code can be better for us. I hope you got the point. So in the next video lecture we'll derive these all relationships, because once we do all these derivations, and if we solve these derivations deeply, then all those power spectral density analysis of different line codes, we can easily find out the result, and we can do the comparison also, right? So thank you very much, and we'll meet in the next lecture.